Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope this show finds you in great spirits. Hope it finds you in a jolly mood. I know we're not even in the holidays yet, but still, hopefully this show finds you in great spirits, as it should, okay? Another day above the ground is what? A blessing. Let's not forget that, all right? But we got some things we got to talk about, okay? Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I've never talked about this case before. So this case is very, very new for me. Okay? Well, not very, very new, but you know what I'm saying. Very new to talk about here on this show. We're going to be breaking down a bunch of things today revolving around this case. And I will say this. Yes, we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to start from the beginning. And hopefully you guys are okay with that. If you got a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But we're going to do as much as we can to do as much catching up in this show. Obviously, we're going to do a lot in this show. It's going to be an action-packed show for you guys this morning. So please do me a favor. And especially, I'll say this too, before I go into the favors, this is going to be a conversation for all y'all, not only for the experts that are well-versed in this case. It's going to be for the other people that are still very, very new to the case as well. So everybody's welcome. Ain't that a wonderful thing? Yeah, I love it too. Okay, so do me a favor. Now I'm going to ask for some favors. It's very simple. Hit that like button down below. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on other platforms, please be sure to hit that reaction button. That'd be amazingly appreciated. All right. If you are watching on those other platforms, please be sure to crush that subscribe or that follow button, okay? Over on Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That'd be greatly appreciated. Of course, if you haven't done it yet, crush that subscribe button here on my main channel, The Pascal Show. I also have the secondary channel as well, Pascal Show Clips. We got clips going out over there throughout the rest of this week. So be sure to crush that subscribe button over there as well. That'd be amazing. If you want to support this channel, hit that join button down below. Hit that. Check out my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. And of course, you can check out pascalmerch.com. We'll talk about the merch stuff because we got some new things up on the store or in the store right now as we speak as well. We'll talk about that later, okay? Because we got to get straight into the meat and potatoes, all right? So, again, hopefully you guys had a wonderful weekend. A lot of us had a long weekend. Hopefully it was amazing, okay? So, like I said, I know some of y'all like, what happened to his hand? See what had happened was, real quick, riding my bike, literally, turned the corner, hit some loose gravel, and my bike just went, phew. My bike went this way and my body went that way, okay? And I want to say, thank God. Well, one, thank God I'm alive. I'm pretty bruised up. I'm not going to lie. But the other thing is thank God I had a helmet on, okay? So I just got to say that really quick, okay? Please, when you're riding your bicycles out here, okay, especially if you're putting in some miles, you're going fast, please wear it. Doesn't matter. Wear a helmet. Doesn't matter if you're just going around the corner. Wear the doggone helmet, okay? I am very thankful because it was a nasty fall. It was a nasty, nasty fall, all right? And my whole head, pow, hit the ground hard. So thank God I had a helmet on, okay? And yes, the helmet's still alive to live to tell the tale, okay? It's fine. I hugged that thing so tight. When I got home, I was like, oh, I love you, helmet. Thank you. So just so you guys know, all right, wear a helmet. All right, so just so you guys know, that's what happened here. I fell. I'm okay. So let's get into the conversation, shall we? Here it is, though, guys. In February of 2020, this woman, Sarah Boone, was hanging out with her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, and they were drinking one night. Suddenly, she claims that they decided to go into a little game of hide and seek. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about y'all, but when was the last time as an adult that you actually played hide and seek? Don't worry, I'll wait. I'm kidding, I won't. I've never played hide and seek with other adults as an adult drinking. I've never done that before in my life. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't, okay? Now, with kids, you're playing around with your kiddos and all that stuff. It's fun, peekaboo, that kind of thing is fine. But two adults that were drinking heavily that night decide to play hide and seek. Now, what's really strange and very tragic about this whole situation is Jorge ends up getting into a suitcase. I'm not kidding. He gets into this suitcase and then she zips him up. Mind you, they're playing hide and seek. This is what she claims. So if they were playing hide and seek, why would she be helping him in a suitcase if they're playing hide and seek? You get it? Because when you're not supposed to know where that person's hiding at, right? So why would she be the one helping him hide when there's only two of them playing the doggone game? Think about that for a second. Now, I do want to play something for you guys in a second, and I know it's a video that a lot of us have seen a million times before, but I have to say this ahead of time that for anybody, this is trigger warning. Anybody who is not comfortable with this, I want to give you the fair warning, okay? But she, even after putting him in the suitcase, or after he got in the suitcase and she zipped him up, she actually pulls out her phone and starts recording him while he's pleading for her to open up the suitcase and let him free. Let me just play this video for you guys. And like I said, this is not, I would say this is not the greatest video to look at and check out, okay? But let me grab the video for you guys. 1 second. There it is. Mm. Okay, you get the general idea here, okay? I'm sure you all have seen this video, okay? I've just never played it here on this show. Like I said, I haven't talked about this case yet. But there has been some new developments, and that's the reason why I'm here to talk about this case with you guys. Now, I want to, again, emphasize the fact that they were playing hide and seek, only two of them. Somehow, he got put into this suitcase. She zips it up. She sits there, clearly very drunk. You can hear her laughing, chuckling, and you can hear it in her speech. She's heavily inebriated. She decides to pull out the phone and start recording. But what's even more jacked up, what's even more insane with this case is that she leaves, comes back 40 some odd minutes later, and films him again, still in the same spot, still in the suitcase, struggling to breathe. Now, of course, she goes, she passes out, she wakes up the next morning and finds Jorge in the suitcase, of course, gone. I want to play a little bit of the 911 call that was made real quick. Like I said, this is just broad strokes. We're going to get into that into more depth here soon with our friends here in just a little bit. But let's take a look at this here, or take a listen. Sorry, hold on. I messed something up. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on. No audio. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Hold on. Let me do that suitcase one more again. We had a little technical issue here. Sorry about that, guys. Wait. Jeez Louise. Come on. There we go. All right, let's try that. Let's try that suitcase video one more time before we go into that.
Sarah. Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Now, here's the thing. Like I said, you guys get the general idea. My apologies, guys. Okay. I thought that the audio was on, but it wasn't. Okay. But what I was saying earlier, you can clearly hear that she's heavily inebriated, right? They're playing hide and seek by themselves. He somehow gets in this suitcase. She zips him up. She helps him get into the suitcase herself. Of course, you hear in the dialogue between them something about, this is what you do, when you cheat on me. This is what it feels like when you cheat on me. This is what it feels like when you put your hands on me, so on and so forth. I got to use these code words as best as I can. You get what I'm saying, though, right? So there clearly is some sort of DV, okay, going on here, possibly, right, between these two. But she still leaves this man in this suitcase for 40 whole minutes, comes back, like I said earlier before, and films him again, still in the same spot, still in this suitcase. She goes and passes out because obviously they have been drinking. She wakes up the next morning and she calls 911. So I want to play the 911 call with audio this time, guys. So let's take a listen.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
4748 France Court, apartment 3.
4748, what's the street name?
France, FRANTZ.
And the apartment number?
3.
Is this a police or medical?
My boyfriend is dead.
Okay, send the line for the fire department. Do not hang up.
Fire rescue. What's the location, Mercy?
That's 32.
No, please don't leave.
4748 France Lane, apartment 3.
France Court.
France Court.
Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, fine, okay.
It's Hillwood Park Apartments.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case when we were playing. And
Okay.
like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he has like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting help out there too. All right, okay. Okay,
And now?
okay, yeah, man, listen, we're on our way out there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is the
42.
boyfriend, ma'am? 42-year-old male. All right. Okay, we're sending help out there. Sheriff's officer way out there?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen to me. Okay. I just need to confirm this. All right. I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me. Okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah. Okay.
But nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay. Listen to me. There's a defibrillator available. I need you to get it for me. Okay?
What is it?
You have an AED available?
No.
All right. Are you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay. Lay him flat on his. Okay, ma'am. Listen. So listen. Is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And
Right.
he's
Okay.
purple.
All right. Listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows. Okay.
Yes, I did.
All right. Okay.
He's stiff and purple.
Right. Okay. Listen. Okay, man. That's fine. We're still going to do compressions on him. Okay. All right. Place the heel of your hand on his breastbone, right in the center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Baby, I'm telling you. Just by looking at him, you can tell.
Okay. And
Please. Okay, he just gurgled.
okay. Listen to me.
So he gurgled in that. Okay, and that freaked her out. That's interesting.
All right. I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Yes,
We want to pump his chest to me hard and fast, going to this twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nice.
Okay, ma'am, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please. Hurry up.
Okay, ma'am.
And it's like, is she just willing to just give up? Like it seems a bit odd to me. This attempt at trying to preserve his life, right? Trying to save his life seems a bit odd to me. Just from hearing this, it seems weird, right? I'm going to play a little bit more though.
Ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Right? Hurry up. Why? Why is she doing that? This is weird.
Still doing it.
All right, just continue pumping. Just count on us. I can count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
Okay, now of course we all know she can count. Is she just okay? some of y'all in here in the chat, and I appreciate some of you guys saying these things because that's very interesting, right? Like Live and Learn, what's up, man, said, it doesn't sound like she's trying. It didn't sound like she was trying before either when she's sitting there stopping and saying, hurry up to first responders, right? To the ambulance. That doesn't make any sense, right? Somebody else has said this. Money Smoke, thank you so much. Doesn't sound like she's doing CPR, in my opinion. What? Like, that's crazy. Think about that. Ain't that crazy? That she's just sitting there going 1, 2, 3, hurry up. 4, 5, 7, 9. You know what I mean? That's crazy, right? But it doesn't sound like she's really, it doesn't really sound like she's, it just sounds like she's holding the phone and just counting, right? It does kind of sound like that. The other thing too is, could she still be inebriated from the night before? Think about that for a second. So her mindset could still be on like, F this dude, right? Forget George or Jorge. If I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. But George, right? F George. She could still be on that high, right? She could still be on that. Not giving a damn. I mean, she sounded fairly inebriated. She's waking up to seeing him gone, and then she's calling 911. Then when she's performing this CPR, it doesn't seem like she's really doing the act of CPRing, right? Let me play just a little bit more, okay?
Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting there as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay. Keep pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Just don't make me count.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting there as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Okay. Keep on pumping, ma'am.
And the question is she still pumping? Because it seems like she's not. But then again, she could be. Don't know, right? But something ain't right here. Something's definitely not right, in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, we gotta, there's a lot that has gone down. If you guys want me to check out like the full body cam and all that, we will definitely, I have no problem watching that with you guys as a fam. We are going to look at that in a little bit here, just some clips from the body cam at the crime scene here in just a little bit with when we get some of our guests on the show. But what's very interesting about this whole case, okay, is that this tragedy, this crime was committed. In my personal opinion, this was a crime, okay? This was committed in February of 2020. It's been 4 whole years, guys. And there has been continuance after continuance after continuance. Why? Because she has gone through so many doggone lawyers that, I've never heard any case like this ever in my life, where the lawyers keep getting swapped out. It's wild. But what's very interesting as well is that, and I got to share this with you because I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about this, but this is crazy. She put out an ad trying to find hopefully her final and 9th lawyer. Because for a second there, she actually was going to represent herself. Yes. Some of you are like, no, she wouldn't do that. She ain't that crazy. Yeah, no, she crazy enough to do that. Yeah. She was willing to represent herself because she went through 8 of them lawyers, okay? 8 attorneys. But then after putting out this, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but this is interesting, okay? Very, very interesting. She puts out this ad and she finally gets another lawyer, okay? That lawyer number 9, she got a 9th lawyer to represent her. And they showed up in court today for another motions hearing. And we found out she was trying. She tried something, though. She was trying. She tried to get a continuance again for the trial. And guess what happened? Oh, the court said no. Yeah, they said no. Yeah, they denied that motion. So she is going to be seeing the inside of a courthouse, inside of a courtroom in October. Yes! Aren't we all excited about it? It's about damn time, to be really honest. It's about damn time, okay? But that's actually what happened this morning. Didn't know that they were going to have a motions hearing this morning, but they actually did have it. They tried to move the date. They tried to get another continuance, and the judge said no. I got a lot of questions about this and then some, okay? More than just the fact that they were trying to move the court date again, okay? Move the goalpost as best as they can with the ninth lawyer, okay? I got a lot of questions about this, but to talk about this and dive into more of this is our legal expert, Amy Ray Davis. She is a paralegal and she is a law professor at Chattahoochee Technical College. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So, okay. So now that we've finally seen, like, all right, there is no continuance. They are actually going to be facing the music in just in a short couple weeks, really. Can we talk about why the judge decided not to do the continuance? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think that enough is enough. At some point, you've got to. Miss Boone has assumed the risk of all of these continuances and all of these antics, and now you have this new attorney who's come in, and this new attorney has also essentially assumed this risk as well. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because the wow, it's so crazy because you got this ninth lawyer that literally just kind of waltzed into the room in the third act, right? He hasn't known really anything, at least as far as I know. You're walking into a case that you really don't know a whole lot of. Maybe you've seen it online. Maybe you've seen it in the news, local news and all that stuff. But other than that, you're waltzing into something kind of blind, flying blind with this whole situation. So I'm kind of curious, is he going to have enough time to be fully vetted before October, before the court date? What are your thoughts on that? Because it seems like there's a little bit of a disadvantage in a way, but did she cause that disadvantage, right?
I think she did. And I've been going through her file that's on the Orange County clerk's site and looking at all of the stuff. I mean, the majority of the stuff that's on there is her filing for money to pay for lawyers and experts and things like that. I mean, I think that when push comes to shove, it's about coming down to that one thing, and it's that video with the suitcase. And so when you're talking about that, you look at the complaint. I don't know if they're going to bring in any previous things because they did talk. I have seen some rumors about the possibility of doing the battered spouse syndrome. So there might be some, previous things that are brought in. And if that's the case, they're going to have a little more work in regards to that. But other than that, I don't know that there's a whole lot that's going to have to be done to overcome, like, the video. The video speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I totally agree on that. I mean, let's be real. The video, it says it all. To me, that's enough in my personal opinion. Okay. And the fact that there is other additional video, it's not just that one video. She went and left, like maybe she took a nap or continued drinking, just
that she went to
bed. Or she went to bed, then woke up, came back out, saw him still struggling in the suitcase, and filmed him again for the second time. So it wasn't like, so she had plenty of opportunities to sit there and go, yeah, maybe I should unzip this thing. Maybe I should set this man free. But she doesn't do that. She doesn't do that at all, which is absolutely crazy to me, right? It's absolutely wild. Yeah. But then you go through all these lawyers. Well, first off, you did say, that you agree that, this, by her doing this continuance, going through so many different lawyers, it's just been not helping. It's been hindering her and hindering her case. To me, I feel like she's just delaying the inevitable. That's just my personal opinion. It's a wrap, in my personal opinion. But I'm curious about this, though. Our legal expert, Amy Ray Davis. I'm curious about this. Why did she go through 8 lawyers? Why? What happened here?
Listen, that's one of the things that we will never know because they still have a duty to their client to not disclose those things. But if you read the documents, they say things like, we've developed an adversarial relationship. There's irreconcilable differences. Like they're getting divorced,
What?
And yeah, I mean, they're citing these like they can't work with her. But I think the one that is the most interesting was Hobson. It was back in, I think, like January. And he told the court, he said, what she's wanting to do with her defense, I don't think should be allowed. And he said, she's asking me to do some things that I will not do.
Wait. What? So no, can you break that down for me? Because I'm a little bit confused about that. What does that mean exactly?
So whenever you go and like the role of the client is to determine the overall objective, right? So the overall objective should just be like, hey, I want to, get off of these charges, or I want it mitigated down, or I want whatever. She's going to set that objective. It is up to the attorney to determine how to navigate that. And it sounds like from that particular comment that she's trying to force some navigation that attorneys might not be comfortable with.
Oh, so you're trying to say like she's trying to do something maybe possibly unethical, illegal?
Unethical. They're probably, I mean, the lawyer's license is the one that's on the line. And, if they're asking to do things that are not going to be, held up by the bar, and backed by the bar, they're not going to do it.
But it does make you wonder, though. Did she do this 8 times? I mean, think about it. You'd think that after the first one, let's just be real. Maybe she's new to the law. Okay, clearly now she's like, she's a lawyer now. But back then, though, when the first lawyer said, "I'm out, see ya, deuces," chucking up the deuces, I'm out. Right?
Yeah.
You'd think that, okay, first one, she's like, okay, shame on me. My bad. I shouldn't have asked that. But it seems like she's asked that multiple times then. So what is it that she's actually saying? Is she saying, can we hide this evidence? Can we get rid of this? Or you see what I'm saying? It just seems a bit odd that she would keep continuing to make the same mistake with every single lawyer to the point where they're like, I have to leave. I can't represent you anymore. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are that we will know maybe a little bit more, but I don't even know that we'll know a lot more about the individual attorneys and their experiences at all because of their duty to the client. It's still going to exist no matter what. So whatever it is that she's doing, I think one attorney sums it up very well in their petition to the court or the motion to the court. They said, look, it's very difficult for me to explain the why I'm wanting out of this and still maintain my duty to the client. And so I'm going to have to just say that it's irreconcilable differences. The relationship has become adversarial. And that's exactly what it boils down to. They can't disclose that.
Wow. I think that's really, it's a little bit crazy in my personal opinion, because I mean, now, obviously I'm not a lawyer. Okay. I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV, but I am kind of curious about this. Why couldn't they just throw the whole doggone thing out, the whole thing out? Like, I know that sounds weird because you still got to do your due process. She still has to be found guilty by a court, by a court of, a jury of her peers and all that stuff. But I keep wondering, is there any way to kind of hit reset properly? Because it just doesn't make sense for every single lawyer except for this 9th one, right, so far. And he's saying he's sticking with it. He's sticking around. He ain't going nowhere, which hopefully she's learned from her mistakes. But it does make you wonder, like, after going through 8 different lawyers, do you really think that the court's going to look at her case in an unbiased manner? I feel like there's so much damage that's been done. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think that how can I say this? So I have a lot of opinions when it comes to the need for judicial reform and stuff like that. But I overall, judges and juries are supposed to be maintaining their position because it is still supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. It is difficult when you have the court of public opinion that comes into play now. But in terms of setting reset, I don't know that I don't know that it's necessary. I also don't know that it's necessarily one of those things that we want to set a precedent for, because what happens if you have, say, somebody who comes along who's like a David Berkowitz or something like that, and they start going through all of these attorneys and they just continue to drag it out and drag it out. You know, that kind of a case is going to have so much more into it than hers does, and it's just going to continue to tie up the system even more.
Yeah, I see your point there. But I keep thinking, wouldn't this be so hard for her? I mean, listen, I'm not team Boone here. Okay. Definitely not. But I am kind of curious about, like, if, you know, she's kind of made herself notorious in the courts, right?
Oh yeah.
So it would be very difficult. I mean, I understand you got to be, you know, you got to be unbiased and all that stuff, and listen to the facts and listen to the evidence and let the evidence speak for itself, right? But it's still something very weird what she's done, right? What she has been doing so far, and for it to just, you know, last this long. I mean, this is 4 some odd years of this just dragging on and on and on, to the point where I'm like you can see even in this video right here, the judge is like, no. He, you know, ninth lawyer sitting there going, can I get a continuance? You know, and he's like, hell no.
No.
You know, I feel like even the judge is like, no, it's enough. We can't keep dragging this out. Like you just said earlier, we can't keep dragging this out, because she's going to drag this until, you know, for as long as she can, right? Which is also very strange to me as well. But like I said, it's just interesting, this whole breakdown. Now, I'm curious though. You said earlier as well something about the battered wife, or battered. Was it the battered wife syndrome?
Battered spouse syndrome.
Battered spouse. My apologies, but battered spouse syndrome. Can you break that a little bit down? Do you mind expanding a little bit on that?
Basically what what they're saying that she's going to do is she's going to try to claim that she did it basically as in defense. But I think that's going to be a really hard hurdle to overcome, because you're stuffing somebody into a suitcase and you're leaving them there and you're videoing it and you're taunting them as, you know, they're going through the process of dying and all of these things. And I understand there's a whole dynamic that goes into this, because women, for the longest time before we started getting this defense to be able to be used, women were being looked at as if they were committing like first-degree murder at all times. They, in the middle of a domestic violence situation with a man and woman, there's a power shift. You know, you can't just overcome him as easily as if you wait until, say, he comes home and then you take care of him then. And that's the thing, is that it's not looked at, it's looked at as premeditation, or it was looked at, I should say, as premeditation for the longest time. But it's now shifted to where there's an understanding that somebody who is in a domestic violence situation doesn't necessarily have, they're always walking on eggshells. It's always in that moment, you know, it's always what's it going to be like, you know, the next time it happens, and, you know, things like that. And so there's not really this cooling off period that would be required for manslaughter and things like that. So this defense makes it so that you can mitigate things. But again, I don't think she's going to necessarily successfully pull it off because of it. I will say, I did some talking with some people last night about this, and I just kind of curious about what they were thinking about it. And one thing was brought up that I thought was interesting, because I hadn't really thought about it. Mm-hmm. And it was about all of her delays and her possibly, you know, maybe setting herself up to look unstable, insane, things like that. Now, there's been no insanity defense that's been put out, but I did start looking into other things, because Have you seen the claims about her stapling her clothing?
I heard something about that. Can you tell us a little bit more? Because I'm sure not everybody knows about that. What's up with the stapling?
They caught her stapling her clothing to, alter it. And so they were, telling her like, no, you can't do that. That's contraband. We're going to make you, change into a new outfit. And so, again, it's little things like that she's doing that's continuing. Like, you're sitting here, you're on trial for murder, and you can't even behave.
Right.
And so it does call into question, like, what are you doing?
I mean,
what are you showing us?
So she's well, it sounds like she's trying to show off her. I don't know what Mama gave her. I guess if she's stapling her clothing, which doesn't make any sense to me at all either. What, she trying to be a fashionista in jail? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't.
Gypsy Rose is now out there showing people how to do prison makeup.
Hey, well. Gypsy Rose, you really had to bring her in here. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Right. But no, it's okay. You are forgiven. We love that humor on the show. But that's interesting as well. So yeah, is she trying to be an influencer in the prison? Like what's going on here, right?
Out here, she's showing her, get ready with me, like as if I'm still in prison.
Yeah, no, and I'm referring to Sarah Boone, but yes.
Yeah, let me show you how to fix my clothes.
Right?
Make them skinny pants.
That's weird, right? It's like showing off the curves for the security guards in there or something. I don't know. That is, like I said, weird, right? Weird. Now, if that is an interesting thought that you said earlier, that maybe she is doing this as an attempt to come off like she has some mental health issue, right? That it's like the insanity plea or something of that sort. But we haven't really heard anything about that yet, right? It's just been the battered spouse approach so far.
That's the only thing that I've seen so far. But either way it goes, I mean, with this 9th attorney and maybe 10th, 11th, however many more ends up in play, she's going to go to direct appeal after this happens. I mean, I have a feeling she's going to be convicted. She's going to go to direct appeal. And when she goes to direct appeal, one of the first things she's going to do is she's going to cite ineffective assistance of counsel. And at that point, then what? Then they're going to have to come back and go, well, the court didn't give her enough time, or, maybe she gets a new trial. I don't think none of that. I don't think anything like that's going to happen, by the way, but just throwing it out there that these are the things that could possibly, be going through her head as things that they're going to potentially argue.
Yeah, that's so crazy though. To think that if we go beyond just this 9th lawyer, that we can go like this whole trial. Well, obviously, let's be real. This whole trial has gone off the rails already. It's been off the rails, right? This whole case. So the fact that it could go even to a more place of FUBAR, it just blows my mind. Really, really blows my mind. Now, what are the other possible things that she could be using in her defense? Let's be real. Prosecution has that smoking gun videos, not just one. Two of them, right? One where he initially was asking for her to let him go, and then 40 minutes later, she goes back and she films him in that suitcase again. That's enough smoking gun evidence on the prosecution side. They could just sit on that and let this bad boy they could just paint by numbers and still win. But I'm curious what the defense could have up their sleeve or in their corner. What are your thoughts on that?
Nothing.
Yikes.
Honestly, I think it's very grim. I mean, because think about it.
You just broke my heart. No, I'm just kidding. No. Nothing. Really?
Nothing. I mean, the reality is, you can listen to her and you can tell that she's definitely, not sober when she's talking. But the thing of it is, it's not an involuntary intoxication thing. It's not like somebody got her drunk and then, I lost all, faculties and I did this. Right. No, this is not that type of a situation. So you can't use that as a defense. There was no heated moment in that, because she's talking about, we were painting and we were playing hide and seek and we were doing this and that, listening to
Right.
music and all of this stuff. So she's painting this happy time for them. So we're not seeing anything that's contentious that would lead to self-defense or anything like that. So I don't see it.
The only thing I could think of is, and this is when it goes into this is when it goes like in where I go a little crazy here, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay. There have been people that have been let go because of, there was a case of about a year or two ago where a young woman was hanging out with a new guy that she was dating. She smoked a little bit of weed, and then she viciously attacked him, attacked the dog, and even attacked herself. Cops had to take her down, taser her, etc., because she had I guess they said, a cannabis-induced psychosis of some sort, right?
Okay.
So, like I said, we talking crazy here, so just ride with me for a second.
Okay.
Could she possibly use the intoxication excuse? Not involuntarily, but saying, I was so inebriated, I was so drunk, I didn't realize what was really going on. I didn't realize the reality of the situation. I was just I was completely drunk, right?
They can try anything. Doesn't mean it's going to stick.
True. That's very true. But they used cannabis psychosis on this one woman, and she walked free.
I think that's different.
Okay. How so?
I think that's different because you have somebody who is experiencing a reaction to what it is that they've taken. For example, let's say, because I teach my students this kind of stuff all the time. We'll talk about the intoxication stuff, and I'll say, let's say that you have some sort of a tequila, right? And somebody is is allergic to one of the ingredients in it, okay, but they don't know that they're allergic to it. Could they have some kind of defense because they find it out in that process?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Again, but it doesn't mean that anything's going to stick. It's just like when cops they charge people with things, it doesn't mean that you're going to get a conviction out of all of the charges. Same thing with the defenses. They can throw out anything, but it doesn't mean it's going to work.
That's true. I mean, you definitely have a point there. I mean, the possibility of it just being, it would be a far-fetched, it'd be a Hail Mary. Long story short, it would definitely be a Hail Mary for them to sit there and go, well, she was drunk. And it's like, well, explain all the drunk drivers, explain all those accidents that happen when people are heavily inebriated. It happens a lot more than we'd like to even have happen.
Yeah.
So for her to sit there and say, if it is, DV, if she tries to claim DV, if she tries to claim that she was heavily intoxicated and that's the reason why, I mean, none of those reasons really, I don't think that they can really stick, but it doesn't seem like that's the approach that she's going with, at least as of now. But that's the other thing too. They keep saying something about discovery, right? That they're wanting, I don't know what it is, what the defense is begging for when it feels like everything has been out there for them to see. So what is going on with this whole need for discovery when it feels like they've gotten everything that they need?
I haven't understood that either, because she has had I can't remember the name of the investigator now, but she's even had, this guy, Billy Lane. She's even had him go and get the thumb drive of all the stuff and, bring copies to her and things like that. So I don't know what it is that she's feeling like she's missing. I don't know. Again, I think she's just throwing out all kinds of things because why not?
Yeah. I mean, just throwing a whole bunch of ish against the wall and seeing what sticks kind of situation.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I just don't understand clearly we see all this that's been going on as far as the continuance and these constant continuances. But for me, I'm like, why are you delaying the inevitable? What does that do in your favor, doing these constant delays? Except I understand that you said maybe, to try to come off like she's just lost her marbles, right? But outside of that, she keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. So for me, I'm like, there's got to be something more of a reason on why she's doing that. There's got to be another tactic here, right?
What if it's about her bond? Maybe she's pushing for that bond because she's going to run away somewhere.
Maybe. Wow. But I don't think they're going to let her go anywhere.
No, I don't either. But the bond does keep coming up.
Interesting. So that she can try to run. I mean, if she tried to run, that'll be some wild stuff. That'll be wild. Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, because now they, of course, denied the continuance, and it looks like they're going to be going into preliminary hearings in the next couple weeks. I mean, near the end of this month, if I'm correct, near the end of this month, they're going to go straight into, wow, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Preliminary hearings. But here's the thing. I got to ask you this, because a lot of us, when we heard about this, a lot of us rejoiced, going, oh, thank God, finally, geez, we're finally going to get into a trial. It's about damn time, right? Yeah. Now, is there any way that she could flip this up and turn this into another situation where there's another delay? I'm just curious, is there any possibility, any room for her to try to change this and get another continuance?
I mean, really, the only thing I can see is her like, I'm so sick. We can't come. But it doesn't matter, because your attorney can be there for you. You don't even have to be there. But I don't see, I don't see her getting out of it.
You don't see her? Okay. I'm hoping you are right. I'm definitely hoping you are right, because let's be real.
Revisit my words in a few months.
Yes. I think we're all ready for this trial. We're definitely ready for this to be done. Getting justice for George and anybody else that his family, his loved ones, and all that, I'm sure, are just chomping at the bit to try to get this whole thing on and moving here. But Amy, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Of course, I hopefully you're going to stick around so we can have another conversation with our other guest that's going to be on here in just a minute.
I do want to add one more thing for you.
Shoot. Yeah, shoot.
And you can take this up with your other guests too, in terms of the investigation, because there was a history of domestic violence between the two of them. Uh-huh. And she had a charge in 2018 of battery by strangulation, which I found that interesting, considering he died of positional asphyxiation. And wow. I don't know, but he also had some charges too. And so they did have a very tumultuous relationship.
Extremely toxic relationship.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not surprised the violence here, right? I'm not surprised the treatment that was done here. And, of course, it seems like it's two people that enable each other. And, maybe it is a booze, like the connections through booze and God knows what, right? But then, of course, things get volatile, things get toxic. And then, of course, DV happens on top of that. But they stick together because they enable each other.
For sure.
And so that's some crazy stuff. And the fact that there is history of DV between the both of them, and there's charges between the both of them, says something that's very, very revealing as well. But Amy, thank you so much for giving us that information. I'll see you in just a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Guys, she will be back. She's going to be hanging out with us in just a little bit, but I wanted to bring on another friend. Okay. She's new. Okay. So that was Amy Ray Davis. Okay. Legal expert. Appreciate her coming on and bringing in her expertise. You'll be seeing a lot more of her in the very, very near future, not only on this case, but many, many other cases as well. And you guys already know this guy. Okay. You already know him. He's a good friend of the show. We love him here. Private investigator Jason Jensen is back to the show. What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed. I appreciate you being here, being a part of this conversation. Okay. Obviously, as you already know, Sarah Boone's case is about to get started. Finally, okay. They have denied. There was a motion for a continuance again. The judge said no to that. And it looks like we're going to be going into this trial very, very soon. But I am quite curious to ask you a few things in regards to the actual investigation of this whole case, right? Of course, we already know about her being her filming her boyfriend basically zipped up in a suitcase. He loses his life in the suitcase and whatnot. But I am kind of curious as to what your thoughts are about the suitcase itself, the filming of the suitcase, the crime scene in itself. So let's talk about the actual suitcase video. What are your thoughts on the video itself?
Well, it's clearly sadistic. She's mocking him and deriding him and actually commenting things that are intending to make him feel poorly for past deeds, if true, which I assume that they are, where she's claiming, hey, this is what you get, shut the F up. This is for cheating on me. This is for past, abuse is really what it's alluding to, which she references to him. Obviously, it's a personal conversation where it's not prefaced like with the narrator, but it's clearly directed at him where he's going to understand these remarks. So this reflects what you and Amy Davis was just talking about there being a past history of DV. So clearly that's there and it's being corroborated in this conversation with Mr. Torres. But it shows that she's being sadistic. It shows that she's being cruel to him and ultimately reckless in her conduct because she leaves him in the suitcase to his death. So, it's unmistakable what the outcome of this trial is going to be. Really, the choice of her to rely on a battered spouse syndrome is more of a mitigating factor at the time of sentencing than it's an excuse for homicide. She's really trying to take this battered spouse syndrome claim and use it as a self-defense claim, which is different because self-defense is an act of preservation of yourself or another with immediate threat of harm or serious bodily injury or death. So it's not the same. But she's trying to bootstrap it to appear the same.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you hear in the video, she sounds jovial. She sounds happy. Now, I understand that the camera is not flipped around and we don't see her actual face. We don't see if, maybe he put his hands on her that night or anything of that sort. But we do see body cam footage where she's out here and she looks completely fine physically, right? Doesn't look like there's any scratches or bruises or anything of that sort. So, and that's a bit of a weird thing as well, right? So for her to sit there and say, oh yeah, it's the battered spouse approach or the battered spouse argument, I don't know if that can actually stick, right?
And it doesn't seem like it's going to. I mean, obviously, if it was a legal justification, this would have been a motion to dismiss. That would have been addressed before the judge, and the judge would rule on the merits. But this is being presented for a defense at trial, hoping that to get jury nullification. But it's more a mitigation factor than it's a real self-defense claim.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about this here. Okay, the body cam footage in general. The conversations that are being had in this. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the interaction with police? As they're at this crime scene. Because it just seems a bit. It seems a bit odd. It seems a bit off, in my personal opinion.
Well, especially if her purpose that night was in defense of herself. It's not mentioned in the video between her and her interaction with Torres, but it's also not preserved in the conversation with the police. She's not saying he beat me up last night and I zipped him up in a suitcase to protect myself. No, she's actually claiming differently that, like acting shocked, surprised. She's not remorseful in her conversations with the police. She's actually, shocked that they're not accepting her word.
Right. Like I said, it is a bit weird because, you're going into this crime scene, and you're just seeing a suitcase, right? And you're seeing, of course, a deceased body on the side. And, for me, I'm like, how does one assess this situation, especially when she claims they were playing hide and seek? He willingly went into the suitcase and she zipped him up. And of course, in my personal opinion, when you're playing hide and seek, you're not getting assistance from anybody. You're just getting into the suit. If you were going to go and do this, jump in the suitcase and hide in the suitcase, you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if you're going to go and hide in the suitcase while playing hide and seek, you don't want the person who's it to find you. So why would she be helping him get into the suitcase if they're playing hide and seek? Right?
Right.
It just seems weird.
And to your point, if it was hide and seek, it wouldn't be zipped up. But, as a joke, if you found somebody in a suitcase, you might zip it up. But then, jokingly, it would just be temporarily. It wouldn't be through the duration of the night, especially when there would be pleas for help, pleas to be released. And she ignored all that and derided him instead. So when she's talking to the police, if it was a real accident, you would expect behavior to mirror that it was an accident. You'd see tears, you'd see remorse, you'd be an explanation that, oh, dear God, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. And it's like, and you'd be more concerned about him than concerned for yourself.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more about that. And that's, it's wild. And yeah, your dog concurs as well. Apparently your dog doesn't like Sarah Boone so much. I see.
Let me let her out of the kennel real fast.
You're good.
Keep this up.
You're good. But yeah, guys, I mean, it is very interesting, when you watch this body cam footage and you see how how all this has gone down. It is something that's very interesting, right? That she's not very concerned, right? There is no real concern over what happened with him or anything of that sort. Even when we listen to even when we listen to the 911 call, okay, we're looking at this, we're hearing the same type of thing where she's like, hurry up, hurry, get here, instead of actually applying the CPR that the first responder or what the dispatch is instructing her to do. And and that's one of the reasons why we brought Jason Jensen on, because I'm kind of curious about this. Even smart people in the chat, a lot of y'all smart, too smart for your own good sometimes, but you guys are out here saying, hey, it doesn't even sound like she's even applying CPR in the audio. You've heard the 911 call. I mean, do you agree? Do you think that there's something else going on? Do you think she just said, I don't want him to live, so I'm just going to count out loud, acting like I care, right? That I want to take care of him, but do you think it was all an act, or do you think she really was doing the CPR here?
Well, this is all speculation on my part, but I mean, just from the human experience, when somebody is dead, I mean, way past expired, not just blue, you just saw them a couple minutes ago and, they need to be revived by CPR, mouth press or whatever. You do not want to touch a clearly expired body. There's, for either because you're creeped out, that they're bloating, that they're foaming at the mouth or whatever, that they're fully expired. You're not wanting to touch them because of perhaps some cringe factor. Not all of us are, mindful of being a pathologist or medical examiner, and that wouldn't creep you out. On the other hand, Okay, people may also be thinking forensically, criminally. If I touch this person that is expired, I'm going to be transferring DNA, while on one hand it's excusable as I was trying to save their life, but it's also can be construed as evidence that you were hands-on with the deceased as a victim. So maybe there was some reservation in that regard. But if it sounds like she wasn't doing real CPR, that may be the reason, because she was feigning it for a recorded call.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very odd. This case, right? Everything that we've seen here thus far, it's and a lot of it to me. I mean, there's a lot of things that equate to she did this. She is guilty of what she's done, and she should be found guilty. This should be a very speedy. My opinion, it's going to be a very speedy trial. That's just my opinion. She's been prolonging this whole thing with the constant continuances, the constant going through a whole Rolodex of lawyers. Okay, now she's on her 9th one. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. But what do you think she could actually have in her favor within this particular trial? Anything in your opinion?
Sure. Let's look at this for a second. I mean, just to dissect what you just explained, continuances are normal especially when the stakes are high in a criminal case. You're going to have pretrial procedures from both sides that may delay a trial or cause it to be reset. Here, with there being 9 attorneys, there is disagreement between the attorney and the client in the process. Usually that means, for instance, because I used to work at a law firm, anytime that there was removal and replacement of attorney, substitutions of counsel, it's usually because they differ in their approach. The client has an idea how to proceed, like maybe she wants to go to trial while the attorney wants to negotiate. The attorney may see, this is not a winning trial. I can't afford to spend 12 weeks in a courtroom just to lose. I'd rather plea it out and put all my chips in the sentencing, and she may not agree with that. So she is hoping that a jury will weigh, because that's the role of a jury, is to weigh the evidence. So weigh her testimony, weigh what she said. She may go along the line, this is what I told the cops, this is what I'm telling you, the jury. There's no inconsistency, so I'm telling you the truth. Weigh my words for what they are. Take my word for it. I was protecting myself. Maybe she will reveal that there was a fight earlier, but then that goes in disagreement with them being playful with one another. So it's not a perfect claim to say I was abused that night when there's inconsistency with her interactions on the body cam. So if they were to exclude any of that kind of evidence for whatever reason, or convince a jury not to take that for face value, I was without an attorney at the time, I wasn't properly Mirandized, it should have been excluded evidence, or so on, then so be it. But I mean, really, that's part of that pretrial process that a defense attorney will go through and try and exclude any disfavorable evidence, minimize what the state can present to a jury, and then hope for the best outcome, some type of an acquittal or even a reduced, lesser included offense. So rather than murder, manslaughter, rather than manslaughter, a negligent homicide or something along those lines. So,
right.
And those cause delays. Here this 9th attorney was trying to get the last final delay of only 3 weeks, buying time to go through exculpatory evidence, information, cell phone data, digital recordings, text messages between her and Torres, hoping to build this battered spouse abuse syndrome. But we're looking at 3 weeks is probably plenty of time, but how do you make sure you get the right experts? that's the problem that defense is facing is if I'm going to trial, I need to have enough time to call witnesses, interview them, get the right experts, notify the court and opposing counsel so there's no Fifth Amendment due process claims. And so I think the request for 3 extra weeks was genuine under the circumstances, but it doesn't mean that it can't be continued last minute anyway. All the attorney has to do is do his or her due diligence right now, and in a week or two, levy the motion again and actually have specificity. We contacted this expert, this forensic technician or whatever, and they're not available in such short notice. So it may still be continued.
I think it's going to be interesting because, well, you say that it still could be continued, right?
Right.
Man, I hope not. Okay, because I mean, we now understand that they're going into a trial in October. The judge denied their motion for a continuance. She tried to say that it was I forgot the legal jargon, but basically like it was unfair that because the fact that they're going into a trial in October. But he's like, hey, nope, nothing's changing. We're going straight into it. Obviously, we just talked about this with Amy Davis as well. But the fact that they would actually have a continue, if there was going to be another continuance, that would be mind blowing to me. And I feel like they'd have to move earth. I think. Okay, they'd have to move mountains for that to actually happen. For the judge to actually say, "All right, fine, let's give him a continuance." She shot herself in the foot, literally, by the constant BS, by constantly trying to have continuances, by moving the court dates all the time, by going through all these different lawyers, and just causing such a mess, right, with this whole situation, instead of actually just facing the music and doing the thing, just going through the trial and getting it over with. I think it's a little bit wild and crazy about that. And again, I don't see anything in her favor. I don't see any evidence that poses or at least presents a strong argument on why this whole thing happened. This was not self-defense. This was not any, showing any type of, like, she was in dire straits, hence the reason why she zipped him up in a suitcase, which, by the way, how do you get somebody to get into a suitcase if you're not doing it by gunpoint or by using a knife, right? So you see, to me, it's just such an odd and strange situation. But of course, I do want to bring back on Amy Ray Davis back onto the conversation here, because I'd love to kind of wrap up the show with her as well, just to have an open discussion about this. So Amy is back with us. Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so I was just saying. So I was just saying something here, which is, like I said, it's so odd, right? We just talked about this. Jason just said there could be a continuance, a possibility of another continuance. But we just talked about this a second ago, Amy, right? That, she would have to move earth. Like, it would have to be an act of God, right? An earthquake, a tornado, a tsunami, okay, would have to actually happen for them to go, well, yeah, let's move the date again, right?
Well, I think Jason actually set it up right with, because it sounds like the attorney was coming out of the gate going, okay, here I'm doing my entry of appearance. Go ahead and give me this continuance. Now, if they go into it and they start facing all of these hurdles and stuff like that, which I'm sure they will claim, they'll put it back before the court for another continuance. And will they get it? I don't know. It'll, at that point, I do think, though, the court is going to hold her previous behavior against the new attorney as well.
Okay, so then let me ask you this then, okay? Is this fair? Would this be considered a fair trial then? If you got a lawyer, let's just be real. Let's think about it for a second, right? We got to be fair, right? Because we got to, she's got to have a fair trial, even though we know she guilty as hell. All right. We all got the memo. She just hasn't gotten it yet. Okay. Maybe she got snail mail. Okay. But the thing is that for her to sit there and hold out for all of this, she has all these continuances. She goes through all these lawyers. Yes, I get that the lawyer is not getting enough time to get everything put together and be properly vetting all the experts that he brings on and all that stuff in her defense. Is it still considered a fair trial if we go and we see the inside of a courtroom in October with the short amount of time that they actually have, and she's found guilty? Would she be able to file an appeal saying that this was an unfair trial?
Well, yeah, I said earlier that it'll go to direct appeal right after this. The difference between the direct appeal versus future appeals is that the direct appeal is the only one that's still within the adversarial process, which starts at the interrogation and moving forward with going all the way through the trial and then to the direct appeal. What's especially important to note about that is that during the adversarial process is when you have the constitutional guarantees to an attorney. So that's what's important to note. Outside of that, she's going to have to navigate paying for an attorney, finding one that's pro bono, things like that. But is she going to, do an appeal? I think she's going to be convicted, and she will do an appeal. And I think ineffective assistance of counsel is going to be number one on that list. They're going to come back and say, well, the court didn't give us enough time. Mm-hmm. But is anything going to be done? I mean, in all honesty, by getting how can I say this? There's something called an interlocutory appeal, where it basically pauses everything and they can go to the appellate court and ask them to go ahead and rule. So they could even go to it and say, well, do you think that this was fair? Should they have to give me, the continuance, and then go that route as well? And it's something that can happen, while everything else is still moving forward as well. Interesting.
Jason, thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, for there to be a good appeal, whether interlocutory or direct appeal, she would have to be able to demonstrate, so it'll have to manifest itself in the next couple of weeks, that there was actual prejudice caused by the denial of the continuum. And that can happen. And that will, necessitate only when the attorney goes through the evidence in spite of the denial and then realizes, wow, I don't have enough time. I've asked for more time before I realized there was trouble, but now that I'm aware of that trouble, they're going to have to request it again. To perfect this appeal on a denial of a continuance, they have to demonstrate where there is actual prejudice, not perceived prejudice, because that's why they made the motion at the time of the entry, is because there was perceived prejudice on the horizon, because it's I need more time. But now that they were denied that more time and it creates problem, then they'll come back with it and say, you know what, I didn't have enough time to get an expert based on this evidence that I've discovered going through the phone. I didn't get time to coordinate something for this witness or this expert, or I don't have time to subpoena a family member of Torres that was in a, a text thread or something along these lines of my defense. So you're going to have to demonstrate actual prejudice before there's an appeal to perfect.
Interesting. Do you think in this particular scenario, they can prove that?
In time, I think that there will be a claim. If they're going to do a defense presentation at trial, they're going to, when the state closes their case and it's the defense time, if they can't get witnesses there because of this denial of a continuance, that's your prejudice. So, but they're going to have to be able to articulate that for the judge. And remember, under the constitutional, Bill of Rights, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, these are rights of the accused, not the state. The state don't have that right to counsel. The state don't have a right to due process. Now, it's been interpreted to convey that, but these are enumerated rights protecting the accused. So there's the difference.
Okay. Let's keep it real. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. Okay. You got smoking gun evidence. Okay, you got this suitcase video that is obviously deplorable, right? Can't believe that even exists. There's 2 of them, by the way, not just 1, but 2. You have a woman standing trial that has been pushing this like crazy. And of course, I'm throwing this to you, Jason, because I did ask this to Amy earlier. How is she going to have a fair trial with all of this that's already been out here, with the continuance, with the lawyers that she's gone through? You know, for a fact, I'm sure that I feel like this judge said, hell no. I feel like when he said no, he said denied. I think he said it would, hell no. That's what I feel when he denied it, because of how much this has been continued, right? So I am quite curious as to, can she actually get a fair trial after all the BS that she's gone through?
It really depends on the trial strategy and what's presented at that time, because if the attorney is just going to poke holes in the state's claims and rest after the state rests, then, you know, it doesn't matter who conducted the defense, who was in charge of. But remember, a right to a fair trial is a guaranteed right to all accused, but it doesn't mean that it guarantees you a right of an acquittal. There is no such thing as a right to an acquit. No, instead, it just it puts the burden where it lies on the state to prove a case to a jury of your peers. And it doesn't have to be a weak case, a strong case. It's your right to have it presented to a jury. Now, the state and the legislatures across the country incentivize defendants not to take every case to trial by giving you favorable matrices at the time of sentencing if you accepted responsibility versus held a trial and things of that nature. But the reality is those are to incentivize you to waive your right to a trial. So if our system required every case to go to trial, the system would break, because 85% of most cases don't go to trial, because you don't have 10,000 judges for 10,000 cases in my county or your county or across every county in all 50 states, because you just don't have that kind of those resources. So the judge denied the continuance for a couple of reasons: for judicial economy, and because the state has claimed that they were ready to proceed. They've already done their witness interviews, and subpoenas are out, and so there was high incentive not to move the date just because of judicial economy's sake. Now, it can still be continued if there is an actual denial of this right guaranteed to Susan Boone as an accused person, because you go through the appeal, the appellate court rules in her favor, it's back down for a new trial anyway. So the judge will weigh the evidence and the claims at the time if there's a new motion to continue at some point, but it doesn't mean it's going to have to. I've seen plenty of cases where the attorney puts all their efforts in the next 3 weeks, is ready for trial, it goes, they don't present a defense, and it's a open and shut case and it's over.
Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So Amy, I got to ask you though this too. Okay. Just a few more questions for you guys. Do you think that they have enough time? Do you think that the defense has enough time before October to get everything properly set up, ready to go, and get into this trial?
I mean, it depends on how long this witness list is. I went and looked at all the stuff that I could see on the court's website. I didn't see anything that looked overly extensive. I think the biggest thing is setting up your experts and forming your relationships, with them and getting them basically to testify to what you want them to. But there's going to be plea deals that are going to start being thrown her way if they're not already. I guarantee you they're going to try to close it out with that, because that's what Jason was talking about with those 85% of cases. They get closed out through plea deals.
Yeah. Okay. One last question. Is there any way of her actually successfully walking out free over a technicality? I'm going to throw it over to you, Amy, first, and then Jason, you can.
There's always the possibility. In law school, the one thing that we learn to say when we're asked a question is it depends. And it does. It depends on a lot of things. It's a big what if game. So if she has, I don't know, if there's a material witness or something like that to some thing that needs to be addressed and she's not given the right to confront, is she going to be able to bring that up? Did her lawyer, I still think she's going to get convicted. What happens in appeals will be a different story, but I still don't think that it's really going to end up going anywhere for her overall. I think it is kind of an open and shut case. Somebody did ask if they can suppress the video, and that's one of the things that I guarantee you they'll try to do. And that's just a normal part. But the thing of it is that we see on TV where there's like, these like aha moments, or the smoking gun that comes out. But in reality, in a trial, those kinds of things aren't supposed to happen. And this video, can they build a case without even using the video? I would say they could, because the video, in my opinion, shows motive. And the motive is not the intent that is required to convict somebody of the crime.
So real quick, before I throw that same question over to Jason, you talked about the possibility of them actually suppressing the suitcase video, which is obviously the smoking gun, in my personal opinion, right? That it shows that she's guilty as all get out with this. What are the possibilities? What could be the reasons why they could successfully suppress that evidence, that smoking gun evidence?
Is it more probative or prejudicial? That's the balancing act that goes into those. I don't think that they will suppress it, but I'm not saying they won't try to get it suppressed. But again, I don't think it's necessarily needed either. When you're talking about the difference between, the crimes, they have the elements that have to be met in order to convict somebody of the crime. And in this one, it's second degree. And in that state, it has to do with basically reckless behavior that is likely to end in a certain result. Mm-hmm. And this was reckless behavior, So I think they can show all of that without showing the video, because she's already admitted, we already know for a fact he was in a suitcase. She's already admitted that she zipped him up in this suitcase. So that's just kind of like icing on the cake.
Absolutely. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, it would be shocking to see this if they were able to successfully suppress this shocking and, of course, smoking gun evidence. Okay. I know I keep saying that over and over and over again, but it is, that's the thing that is incriminating her. Absolutely. Right.
But her mouth did too. Remember that.
Absolutely. Her mouth did as well. Her mouth most definitely did as well. But that footage, though, does send it all the way home now, doesn't it? Right. Now, Jason, I'm curious, as far as, I'll just ask you about this evidence. Right. And I know Amy just said it, kind of answered it beautifully, but I'm wondering your thoughts on that, like the possibility of them actually suppressing this evidence that the prosecution has. Right. What are your thoughts on what Amy said and that possibility?
Sure. Thanks, Pascal. Just to address first a comment that you said earlier about technicalities. In my 30 years of defense, there is no such thing as technicalities. They're either identified as either a procedural or a substantive due process violation, and that's usually what's characterized as a technicality. But no, those are legal provisions that are guaranteed under our Constitution, and therefore valid reasons to exclude or even dismiss a case outright. So that being said, sometimes it's wise for a defense to file motions, including to exclude evidence, not necessarily to actually exclude it, but to bring to light to the judge's attention something they want the judge to be mindful of as the trial proceeds, because you want that to be strong on the mind of the judge. Like, for instance, if I was on this defense team where my focus would be, I would move to dismiss the body cam footage and not exclude the phone video. And the reason for that is to show that there's no inconsistency, but actually to show that there's no reliability in her claims. And that's the only reason why you can legally get statements excluded is for reliability. And I would say for the body cam footage, for her to say, hey, you know, I wasn't drinking, this is that. But when you play the phone video, I can tell she's slurring. I can tell she was inebriated. So she is not consistent in that. And I would show that, you know, I would want the judge, I would want the jury to understand, you know, this is a drunk woman, not a callous woman. I'd say she was under the influence. What happens when you're drunk? You get sleepy. So when she said she went up to bed and fell asleep, it's because she passed out. That's what I would be focusing on. And that's the angle I would take, knowing full well that the judge most likely won't exclude either videos, but I would want to draw attention to the judge. She was heavily under the influence. We know that throughout their history, they have a history of getting drunk. They have a history of fighting. So maybe she was taking a first step to protect herself from violence because they were both drinking, and this was the playful stage before a drunk gets violent. That's where I would take this.
Interesting. And that's interesting, Jason. That's an interesting thought there. So I appreciate you saying that.
I play to win, my friend. I play to win.
I see you, man. I see you. But guys, I want to say a big thank you to both of you guys coming on and talking with me about this case and everything. Obviously, this case is obviously hopefully there's no more continuances. Oh my God. Hopefully it's, we're going straight into October. She's not putting up a fuss. Her team isn't putting up a fuss. And we actually see her face the music and she gets exactly what's coming to her. Justice, right? It'd be interesting to see if something is suppressed. If they actually try to do something of that sort, that would be absolutely mind-blowing to me, especially when it's already out there. We've all seen it. Every single person that is going to be watching this on if it is on camera, which I'm assuming it is, we all have seen that smoking gun evidence, right? We've all seen that very revealing videos. It's going to be very hard for them to not have that, floating around somewhere. I get it that the jury has to come in with an unbiased approach, right? They have to have basically zero to no knowledge of this case at all and hear with fresh ears and everything. But, I feel like suppressing that information and that evidence would be very damning, in my personal opinion, for the trial. But we'll see what happens. But again, Jason, Amy, thank you both for coming onto the show. It really does mean a lot to me. And we'll be talking to you guys very soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, take care.
All right. Bye. So, guys, again, this is, a very wild, very, very wild case. Clearly, to me, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. The proof's in the video. Okay, it says a lot. But at the same time, you got somebody who's been doing everything they can to avoid the inevitable. Let's be real. She's avoiding the inevitable as best as she can. And I feel like it's like, hey, let's just get straight into it, right? Now, yes, there's a possibility that they could argue that lawyer hasn't had enough time to get her lawyer hasn't had enough time to get everything together and so on and so forth. And I'm hoping that won't be the case here. Okay. But at the same time, it's still on the table. But will the court actually allow that request, right, for another continuance? I don't know if they will. we will see about that. Okay. But real quick, I wanted to say a big thank you to everybody. Okay. Thank you, Jackie Sue. Thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot of giftings here, so I'm going to say all what I got to say here in just a second. Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much. Gifting 1. All right. Maura Kelly, thank you so much for gifting 5. And Nicole B, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. And all I ask, guys, I ask this every time. When you guys are, when you receive a membership, okay, you're receiving some positive energy. All I ask for you to do is to pay it forward. Open the door for somebody, buy somebody a drink, call your mama, call your daddy, call your man, your wife, whatever, your spouse, your loved one, your partner in crime. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that they look good in that shirt that they always wear. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter. Just pay it forward. Do something positive with that energy. That's all I ask for. Okay. Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much for the bandage fee. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? It's just, a little bit of road rash. You know what I mean? No big deal. I'll be okay. All right. But I appreciate it. Michelle Woods, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're okay, Pascal. Gordon Ramsay had a similar bike accident. Yep. His whole side of his torso was black and blue. I mean, it was terrible. Yeah. I'm so glad both wore your helmets. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy about that. That's why I'm like safety first always. Okay. The only thing I regret is I wasn't wearing like gloves, those biker gloves. Now I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, but I might be that guy here very, very soon. Cause my Lord. Okay. Real quick, S-Dubs, thank you so much. Hi, all. Going to the doc today. CPR for 1 to 2 minutes leaves you exhausted. That's interesting too. She didn't sound tired. Also, lots gross. A lot cannot handle it and refuse. What? Lots gross. I don't know what you're saying there. But thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate it, S-Dubs. Okay. And yes, maybe hit the like button, guys. That'll be greatly appreciated. Okay. But that's interesting. CPR can gas you out, right? Can get you gassed out. So that's interesting, right? But isn't that interesting, right? That you see people, or that you see or hear in the audio of that 911 call that they are struggling. She's not struggling. She just sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4. She just is counting. You know what I mean? It's a bit odd, guys. It's very, very odd. So we will see about that. We will see what's going on here. Maggie, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Okay, guys? But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. If you appreciated this show, appreciated the conversation, appreciated the guests that I had on the show, please do me a favor, okay? Hit that like button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. Crush that like button, okay? Crush it. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. Don't forget, hit that follow button if you're watching on other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go to my secondary channel. Crush the subscribe button over there, the Pascal Show clips. That'd be amazing. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support if you can. That would be dope. All right. Of course, go check out Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. That'd be dope too. And of course, you can check out my merch page. Okay, pascalmerch.com. And I said I was going to show you guys something and I forgot. So I'm going to share it with you guys real quick right now. Okay, because we do have some new stuff up, ready to go. Take a look at this stuff. Bang. Okay, all on pascalmerch.com. Check this stuff out. Thug Life. We got some Halloween stuff. We also got some election political stuff readily available. We got, I think this shirt is dope in my personal opinion, but go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Okay. Straight out of Nightmares. Okay. All the guys together. Okay. Go check it out. We all have these and many, many things, many more on pascalmerch.com. So go over there, check it out, take a look. I'll be showing this to you guys a lot more. Trust and believe as a reminder. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Talk to you guys soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.